We had a great time, Ash, the kids. It was just really nice before a game, and I'm meeting the boys, and what's your name? And he says, Jet, and that really catches my attention. And I'm like, that's amazing. And then just kind of, I've met other boys named Jet through the years, but this is the first time I asked him, I said, what's your favorite number? And when he said 5, it was just like this incredible moment. I think about it a lot. It happened recently. And so for me, I was born in the Soviet Union and came to this country when I was 3. And the first couple of years were extremely rough. We were extremely poor. And when we moved in 1982, when I was 7 to Edison, New Jersey, that's kind of when our American dream started. That's when we were out of like the gutter and we're, like it started happening. And that's when I started really, to be frank, learning more English and becoming Americanized. And you know, raise your hands if you're under 35, just raise your hands. So for you youngsters, first of all, that's epic. Second of all, something crazy happened back in the day. Kids went outside. And so I went outside and some kids were throwing a Nerf football and I came over and they're like, you know, my friend Eric Godfrey says to me, what team do you like? And I'm like, I have no idea. And he's like, you're a Jets fan. And I'm like, all right, we're Jets fans, you're a Jets fan. It's true that sometimes I wish they were Giant fans and said I was a Giant fan because 4 Super Bowl rings would feel very nice. But I love the journey we're on. I love the climb. 100%.
That's how you became a Jets fan.
That is
told by the neighbor kid, I'm a Jets fan.
That is exactly how I became a Jets fan. That was the 1982 season. I started watching that season because this was right before school in August. The season started in September, a couple weeks later. And I just started watching. And I've never stopped, but the Jets tricked me. That was the 1982 season. The Jets made it to the AFC Championship game, the game before the Super Bowl. So I was like, this is great. This is what it's gonna be like. Obviously, we've luckily been able to get back to that game 3 more times in my lifetime. We've lost them all, so the Jets have never been to a Super Bowl in my lifetime. But where the story takes a turn, my friends all had Jets jerseys, and I asked my mom to get one, and we were just not buying those kind of things at that point in our life. The first 7 or 8 or 10 years of America was shelter, food, the end. No vacations, like we just weren't buying things. And so at night, my mom, while I was sleeping, knitted me a Jets sweater, a Jets jersey. And at that point already, my favorite number was 5 and she put the number 5 on it. And so it's singularly my prized possession. When I buy the New York Jets, I'm gonna take that sweater, which I have locked up in the most safe place on earth, and I'm gonna put it in the entrance of the stadium with a little plaque that says, from not being able to afford a jersey to owning the whole fucking team. And I think, you know, I think a lot of us in this room, many don't. My father doesn't have this. A lot of people I know don't have this. But some of us in this room are extremely lucky to be the byproduct of an incredible mother. And when you are the byproduct of an incredible mother, you are really unstoppable. And so like nothing scares me. I think I can do everything. And she's, you know, the beacon and seed of everything that has worked for me in my life. And so the number 5, the reason, if some of you have seen my social media, the reason I put up the number 5 is that's a little bit of a head nod to the person that crafted me, and that's my mom. I think there's just a lot of enjoyment for us to see the people that come through our organizations go on and win. To me, there's no greater joy than the thought. Tubi ran a Super Bowl commercial that I think a lot of you saw this last weekend and tricked a lot of people. It was really clever. And to know that Nicole, their head of marketing, was behind that work that arguably, and I think so, was the Super Bowl commercial of the year, was, you know, brought through the system of Vayner. There's no like greater pride. It's not the same exactly as your children achieving, but it gets to like the close next level. And so the reason I said to Rise that marketing is changing so much, and we're so at the forefront in our Vayner world of companies that I know a lot of the CMOs in 12, 15 years are gonna come through our walls. So that's what he's referencing. To make it relevant for everybody in the audience, so many people here, whether it's to make their barber shop get off the ground, like a young man I spoke to a couple hours ago, or maybe it's just because you're nephew is running for mayor of your town, or maybe you just want to raise a couple of bucks for a disease that took your parents' life. Everyone here, especially with the way that the world is going, is actually in the marketing business. You know, as we all know, there's very few 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds on earth that don't either produce posts on a daily basis in social or definitely consume it, right? So we're in a very different era than the radio era, the television era. We are now in full-fledged, mature internet era. And marketing is changing dramatically. The biggest companies in the world, many of who do a lot of things with the NBA, the reason sports is so dominant is there's so much attention. You know, it's funny, you mentioned something, Joey, Adam, like, it is astonishing to me how much I'm picking up what Joey's saying about the NBA. I think what Adam has done as commissioner since he's been here, on the shoulders of what David has done, it's pretty remarkable when you compare it to the rest of the sporting world. I believe that to be true. And one of those things that they did, for example, was Europe and the rest of the world in proper football, AKA soccer, has had branding on their jerseys forever. That was like sacrilege in American sports. And who did it first? The NBA. And by the way, in a world where we all know in here that we don't watch that many TV commercials outside of the Super Bowl, brand integration into the thing we're watching, the game, is very important. So whether it's things like the patch or things like social media and streaming services actually eating up the majority of people in this room's attention, not print, not direct mail, not television commercials we grew up with. The landscape is changing dramatically. And yesterday I was here and I had 7 to 8 meaningful meetings with CEOs and CMOs of very large companies, and I was blown away by how every one of those leaders has completely accepted this new world compared to, let's say, 2019, even the beginning of COVID, where big brands still thought, I've got to do the big television spot and you got to do the big brand campaign. And so what comes natural to many people in this room under 25, because it's been their entire world, YouTube, social, video game, streaming, gaming, Twitch, like that is now getting to a level of scale. And what we know is that there's a lot of people in this room who now know how to use QR codes and they're not under 20. There's a lot of people in this room who are not 20 who are consuming TikTok every single day. And so the world is changing significantly, and whether you're a big business or whether you are literally a human in here that wants something to happen, understanding how to make the pictures and the videos and the written words for these platforms is the battleground. And that is, for me, the only thing I do for a living for the last 25 years, whether it was helping my dad's liquor store or doing what I do in marketing or VFriends or whatever I'm doing, it's really just trying to figure out where the attention is and how to be the best at filling that attention with information. There's no time machines. I know there's a lot of people here who have a lot of emotions towards digital. I don't like the kids on TikTok. I don't like this. I don't like that. People said that about the automotive. People are like, I like my horse. It's true. Go read the articles about the television. We don't need the television. The radio's just fine. Right? You know how many people here did not want to get email? Do you know how many people here once had a beeper and said, I'm never getting a cell phone because my beeper's just fine? Do you know how many people here debated me only 15 years ago that they were never gonna go to the iPhone because their BlackBerry had buttons on it and they needed the buttons? We have opinions. Technology doesn't care about our opinions. It's just gonna continue to move, and either we get on it or it takes us